The Wizard of Quantum by Johann Ortel. Chapter 7. The Deal. It was the evening of Thanksgiving 2019 at the Silva house. On the front porch, Markus and Massimo stood in whispered conversation. Markus was reminding Massimo of past promises made. "The greatest magician the world has ever seen," Markus said, "and I delivered on that promise, plus the fortune you and your family are enjoying right now." The scene shifted back to the theater in 1997, more than 20 years ago, where a middle-aged Massimo Silva had been peeking at the audience through the side of the drawn curtain. His gaze lingering on the mostly empty seats, but the excitement of a 10-year-old Susan, his #1 fan, filled the theater as she sat in her usual spot in the front row. The theater manager entered the backstage area with a dramatic flair. "Massimo, you have a guest," he announced. Massimo turned around. "A guest?" he asked, puzzled. "Yes, my darling, a guest," the theater manager replied, heading toward the door. He paused, spinning flamboyantly. "Listen, I really love your show, truly, but you've got to come up with some new material, or this could be your last night." With a flick of his wrist, he tossed a casual "toodles" and sauntered off. As the theater manager swept out, a tall, dark stranger stepped in. Their eyes met, a flicker of recognition, a silent exchange sealed with a nod. The stranger strode toward Massimo, his presence heavy, deliberate. Extending a hand, he spoke in a smooth, measured tone. "Good evening," he said. "I am Markus." Massimo reached out to shake hands. There was a sudden spark, and they both jerked their hands back. "Must be all the carpets in here," Massimo said, trying to brush off the awkward moment. "I'm Massimo Silva." "You have a gift," Markus said, his voice filled with intrigue. Massimo smiled at the compliment. "Well, thank you. I guess you are enjoying the show?" Markus corrected him, his tone more serious. "I think you misunderstood. You have a gift, my friend." "What do you mean?" Massimo asked, his curiosity piqued. Markus walked to the side of the curtain and peeked out at the audience. "You have a gift that can fill every seat in this house," Markus said. "A gift that can make all your dreams." He nodded toward Susan. "And her dreams," he added, "come true." Markus returned to Massimo. "I can show you how to use it, but first, you must make me a promise." Markus leaned in, his breath cold against Massimo's ear, whispering the details of the deal. With each hushed word, Massimo's eyes widened, his pulse quickening as the weight of the dark, inescapable pact settled upon him. "So Massimo Silva," Markus said, his voice low and intense, "I ask you, what is your answer?" Massimo remained silent, the gravity of the decision weighing on him. "Do you want to be the greatest magician the world has ever seen?" Markus pressed. Still silent, Massimo finally whispered, "Yes." "I could not hear you," Markus said, leaning closer. Massimo's voice was firmer this time. "Yes, my answer is yes." "Where is your brother?" Markus asked. Massimo rubbed his chin, feeling a slight discomfort. "He's in New York, but how did you?" A sudden, brutal scene flashed. A mafia thug landed a right hook on a man's bloodied face. The man, tied to a chair in a basement, was Massimo's identical twin, Abramo Silva, the master accountant for the underground mafia in New York. "Abramo," the mafia boss said, "you've been the company's accountant for years. You can't just leave. You know too much. And who's going to be my chess partner?" Backstage at the theater, preparations are underway. "Perfect," Markus said, a dark satisfaction in his voice. "We need to prepare him." "Prepare him? For what?" Massimo asked, confused.